Welcome to the second class of Spoken English. I'm sure you would have enjoyed the first session and would have learned so much. Trust me, today's class is going to be much more interesting because it's going to improve your pronunciation skills just right after this class, and I promise you that. Let me start by giving you, just sharing with you an English joke. So this story is between a teacher and a student. So, a student goes to his teacher and says, my head is paining. So teacher says, listen, the head doesn't pain, it aches. So the student says, my head is aching. The teacher said, no, that's not the right way to say it. The right way to say it, I'm having a headache. The student gets tired and tells the teacher, ma'am, it's gone. Funny story set aside, today's topic is very interesting. It is syllable stress. And trust me, by the end of this video, it will improve your pronunciation skills with a lot of words because I'm going to reveal some secrets which you can practice in your daily life and English language. Now, just to start with, let me ask you to read these words. How do you read these words out loud? Now, I'm going to read these words the way normal people would read as what I hear, and then I'm going to tell you the right ways of reading these words, okay? So let's read these words. It is alternative, vegetable, photograph, photography, bureaucracy, executive, engineer. This is what you will hear most of the people pronounce these words as, or speak these words out loud. But the first word is not pronounced as alternative, it's pronounced as alternative. So it's not alternative, it's alternative. Similarly, the other one is not vegetable, it is vegetable. It is photograph, it is not photography, it is photography. It is not bureaucracy, it is bureaucracy. It's not executive, it's executive. And then it's not engineer, it's engineer, okay? So why and how do we pronounce these words differently, and why is it sounding much better? Because of syllable stress. So let me come back to you and tell you what syllable stress is. But first, before knowing syllable stress, we should know what a syllable is. Now, of course, I've given you a definition over there. If you want to read, you can read the definition. But what I want to tell you is, if I have to define syllable stress in a very easy form, a syllable is nothing but the smallest unit of sound in a word. So a word itself is not the shortest form. So the word can be divided even into smaller fragments. For example, I've given you an example. Window. Now that has two syllables because it is win and it is dough. Window. So we have broken the word into two, and the first part is win and D-O-W is the second part. So if I ask you how many syllables are there in window, there are two syllables. Second example, tomato. How many syllables? There are three syllables in this. To-may-to. Now you might ask me, how do you know how many syllables are there in a word? And I'll give you one answer. There are many rules to it, which I will share with you, but I'll give you one very basic answer. The number of vowel sounds that are there in a word will be the number of syllables, okay? I'm not saying the number of vowels. I'm saying the number of vowel sounds. So if you take an example of tomato, it is to, which has O as a vowel sound, may, the second sound A, and to, 3. So now we have 3 vowel sounds, and that's why there are 3 syllables, okay? I will give you more examples to practice. Now, what is a syllable stress? Remember, it's not pronounced as alternative, it's pronounced as alternative, because when you are breaking a syllable into word, you need to be sure which syllable to stress on. Now that you know how to break syllables, I will show you what syllable stress is. Syllable stress is nothing but stressing on the correct syllable, okay? For example, you have intellect. If you see the bold capital letters, it's I-N. That's why it's pronounced as intellect. The second one is exponent. Then third, transparent. Then preliminary. It's not preliminary, it's preliminary. Sorry, it's very confusing, R and L, but you get my point, right? and then it's responsible, and then it's equipment. So if you see, these are the ones that are in bold are actually the ones that you have to stress on. I will give you more examples. Now, there are some guidelines for practicing syllable stress. Which syllable should we stress on? Which syllable we should not stress on? And you can read through these guidelines on this. You can pause the video and you can watch through these guidelines. But as a thumb rule, whenever you're pronouncing a word with a noun, you will technically always stress on the first syllable, okay? And whenever you see, if you see this, the fourth or fifth or sixth line, where there is a prefix, like any word that starts with A and the next line. So let's take an example of attendance, okay? We stress on the one that starts immediately after A. So it is attendance, okay? Intense, executive, okay? I know it's still confusing, and let me just give you an example and break it down for you, and then you will know what I mean. So let's take it easy and slowly. I have written 3 words here deliberately, and I have broken down these 3 words in syllables. So this word alternative, I'm saying it wrong by the way, has 4 syllables. Alternative, okay? Because there are 4 vowel sounds, there are 4 syllables. So I've broken it down the way. So the slash is where the break is. Now our problem is when we say this word, we say it alternative. So what are we doing is we are actually stressing the 3rd syllable. That's why we say it alternative. But the 3rd syllable is not the one that is stressed. The 2nd syllable is the one that is stressed. So when you have to say stress the 2nd syllable, this pronunciation becomes alternative, okay? So I'm not going to give you an alternative solution. I'm going to give you an alternative solution. You see the difference? What I did, I just transferred the stress from 3rd to the 2nd syllable. Another example, when we say, what are you going to buy? Oh, I'm going to buy some vegetables. No, when you say vegetables, you're stressing again, vegetables. You're stressing on the 3rd syllable. But in this case, because it's a noun, you have to stress on the 1st syllable. And that's why it's called vegetables, okay? It's not vegetables, it's tables. So it's vegetables, okay? So I'm not going to buy some vegetables, I'm going to buy some vegetables. Why is it tables and not tables is something that we will do in our next few classes. That is called vowel reduction, schwa sound. I will come to you, but let's go slow. In the 3rd example, where it is address, now, whenever you have 2 letters together, which are the same letters, DD, you just break in between. So this word has a lot of letters in it, but it only has 2 syllables, address, because there are only 2 vowel sounds, okay? But the tricky part is that it can be pronounced as address, and it can also be pronounced as address. And I will tell you in the next few slides why will it be called address, in what circumstances will it be called address, and in what circumstances it will be called address. But for you to practice, I have given you a chart. You can pause the video now and you can practice it. How you follow the chart is, these are really some common words that we use in our day-to-day English speaking. So the capital X is the syllable that you have to stress. And the small x's are the syllables that you just need to keep low, okay? So just as an example, it's photograph in the 3rd line, third one in the 1st one. It's photograph, and it's vegetable, it's messenger. It's not, Facebook Messenger. No, it's a Facebook Messenger, okay? It's not telephone, it's telephone, okay? Similarly, in the 2nd one, it's compliance, concluded, assessment, assignment, alignment. You see, I'm stressing. So for you, what I would suggest, if you really want to practice this, is pause this video, try and take a photograph of this, and if you can write down these words, first step will be to try and break these words into syllables. Then try and put the correct syllable stress, mark it, and then try pronouncing it correctly. You will eventually get the right pronunciation. That's why when you say engineer, that's a wrong pronunciation. It's engineer. The right one, the last one, is the syllable that is supposed to be stressed. It's not engineer, it's engineer. You see, I'm raising my pitch, engineer. Similarly, I've given you, if you see before, these are 1, 2, 3 syllable words. The next one is up to 5 syllable words. So it will get more and more complicated, okay? But you can just pause this video again and you can practice these words. I've already made it for you. Something very important that I want to tell you. Remember, I was talking about address and address. This is one thing that people make a lot of mistakes in, okay? People are confused when to use content and when to use content. So if I ask what is the first page of your book, they'll say table of contents. That's wrong. It's table of contents. So why is it different? It's a very important point that you will never get to hear from any grammar book, but this is something that is taught in spoken English, and it is known as contrastive stress, which is also called noun-verb rule. This is actually our last topic for this video. I'm trying to make videos short and small so that you can follow step by step, not too much information, and you can practice. So contrastive stress is nothing. What it means is there are some words which might have two different meanings but would have same spelling, okay? It is called a noun-verb rule. Now, the condition in noun-verb rule is that the spelling should be the same, okay? In a noun-verb rule, there are two main checkpoints to know. One, the spelling of the word should be same, even though it has a different meaning, and it should be a bisyllabic word. That means it should only have 2 syllables. If both these conditions are met, then only you will apply the noun-verb rule. So examples are address and address. I'll give you an example. The place where you stay is a noun, okay? That's why it's an address and it's not address. And I'll come to those points in the next slide. Similarly, you can pronounce this word as present, and you can also pronounce this word as present. Object and object. Content and content. Both words are correct, by the way, both pronunciations. But there are different instances when we use this. Now, let me give you an example. This is the trick. Whenever you're using the word as a noun, you will always stress on the first syllable, okay? Let me repeat it again. Whenever you're using the word as a noun, you will stress on the first syllable. And whenever you're using the word as a verb is nothing but an activity, you will stress on the second syllable. So if it's a noun, first syllable. If it's a verb, second syllable. So I have written the same words, if you see, for a noun. So in a noun, the present. Now what is a present? A gift. When you're giving someone a gift, it's also called a present. So you will say, I am giving you a present. I'm not giving you a present. I'm giving you a present. But if you're going to present a speech or if you're going to present a presentation, you will say, I'm going to present. Present and present. Presenting means I'm doing something, right? Like I'm presenting in front of you. It's present, but present. Second, address and address. Now, what is an address? The place where you live is a noun. That's why we call address. You know, I've seen a lot of people coming, when I ask, okay, what's your address? They think saying address is more, fancy. So they will come up and say, oh, my address is this thing. No, that's wrong. The place where you live is a noun, so you stress on the first syllable. That's why you say it address. But there is a word called address, which is an activity. That means if I'm speaking in a large public, I will say I am addressing. I am going to address to you. Okay? You get it? Address, the place where I live, is an address, but I'm going to address you with, anything like my presentation. Saying is an example of a conduct. A conduct is a person's behavior. That's why it's called conduct. But conducting a workshop or conducting a training, which I'm doing right now, is an activity. So it's a conduct, it's, conduct. Similarly, it's object and object. So this is a noun, it's a thing. So it's an object. But then if I don't agree with you, I will object to you. So object, object. Let's do it one more time. Present, present, address, address, conduct, conduct, object, and object. One last word, and then I think we'll be done with the whole presentation for today, is content and content. Now, what you see in the first page of your book is content. Things that you have, it's called content. What is content? Content means being satisfied, okay? So let's say somebody gave you something and you're happy with it. So you will say, I am content with your work, or I am satisfied with your work. In that case, we pronounce it as content. But the table of content, or the content in this presentation, or the content of this whole thing is a noun. So it's content and it's content. I hope this is helping you. I hope you're able to make this whole thing more easy, easy for you to understand, and you're able to capture it with ease. Try and repeat and play this video until you really get hang of syllable stress, and specifically the noun-verb rule. As I said, the word specific, people pronounce it wrong. I pronounce it wrong right now. It's not pronounced as specific, it's pronounced as specific, okay? And what I will be doing is, in my coming videos, I will be sharing a whole list of words that we mispronounce in day-to-day life, and what is the correct pronunciation of it, if you want that to come. I think I have some practice sentences which you can pause the video and practice on your own, where the example is with a noun-verb rule. I'm using the same words, but they have different pronunciation because they mean different things. So you can pause the video, you can play the video, you can practice saying each sentence correctly and understanding it. And by the time you finish the sentence, you would have perfected the syllable stress, and you would have perfected the noun-verb rule as well. I really had, this is a new channel, as you know, I really had really good feedback on the first video that we had. And the second video, the reason why I'm making the second video so fast is because of the response you guys have given to us. I really want to thank you for this. This is just a help for everybody who wants to improve their pronunciation skills. If you do like the video, I would like you to subscribe to the channel. Also share it with other people who would benefit from this. And let's try and build a community. I will keep adding videos to help you get better. And trust me, there are more interesting topics that are going to come. And it's going to be a good learning curve. And I hope you all the very best. Thank you so much.